What's up guys, Justin Fuller here, and today I'm at Kia of Duluth in Duluth, Minnesota, and we are getting them set up on the Lot 360 management tool to track not only their keys, but also their cars. So let's hop on in and show you how we do it. Okay guys, so the first thing we're gonna wanna do if we wanna start tracking your keys in your cars at your dealership, much like Kia of Duluth is, you're gonna wanna set up a network first. Now we set up a LoRa-based network, so it's a low-powered cellular network that's gonna connect to a main hub that's gonna live inside your building. Now on the outside of the building, we're gonna use a couple different things here. The first being a solar-powered gateway. So these are gonna live around, we typically put these on light poles that hold about 2 months worth of charge, so they don't require wires or anything like that to run. They're gonna be very easy to set up. Now, the second piece that we're going to use is going to be inside of the building, and a little bit different. So this is about the size of half a deck of cards. This is one of my interior gateways, right? So these two items are going to be placed around the dealership, several of them, however many it takes to cover your lot. And these are all going to allow you to see those key and car tags as they float around so that you can quickly find them. Now, these are going to talk to a main hub. The hub typically will live like in your server room or computer room, or we'll tuck it away somewhere to where it's discreet. It's about the size of a wireless router, so it's not big. So even if you happen to lose Wi-Fi, or if that's an issue at your store, you don't have to worry about anything related to that because our hub is going to hold all those data points for you and allow you to continue working. So that's how we set up the network. Okay guys, so when it comes to the hardware, we're going to use a couple different things you can use to track your keys and your cars, right? If you want to do both, or if you just want to do one, you could do that as well, but I recommend that you probably do both. So on the keys, we're going to use these tags right here. So zoom in a little bit. It's pretty small. It's about the size of my thumbnail, quarter, just to give you an idea. And there's going to be a QR code and some numbers on the back, which I'll talk about here when we hop onto the app. Now, for the cars, a little bit different piece of tech here, right? So a little bit bigger. It's red. It fits around the rear view mirror, or you could throw this around the sun visor if you want to be able to tuck it up and away. And so the cool thing about that is, one, it's a little bit bigger and it's a little bit more visible, so you'll remember to take them out of the car. Because a reminder, all of these are reusable. The minute I sell a car, I can pull these off and connect them to another car. And you can even connect some of these up to things other than cars, which we'll go over here in a little bit as well. So know that you have both of these, and these are the two pieces of tech that you're using to track keys and to track cars. Now, related to that, when it comes to cars, not only do I offer this regular tag, but let's pretend that maybe you have issues with theft at your dealership. I offer an additional tag that offers motion sensing alerts, right? So if you want to put these in like cars that you use to block driveways, you absolutely could. So the minute one moves, you'll get that alert. Or maybe you just have high-end vehicles, right? Maybe you've got some of those, a couple of those handful of vehicles, whether they're Corvettes, maybe they're Raptors, maybe they're Stingers. I don't know what it is at your particular lot, but you could put these in those cars so if anybody tries to steal the wheels off them, they try to steal a catalytic converter out of it, or steal the whole car in general, the minute that car moves, it'll send you alerts. So know that I offer a couple different options when it comes to these tags. Now, if you want to track cars off your campus, I even offer an OBD2 device, which I think I've even got one here that you can plug in. And even if they pull this out, you can get 2 months worth of, 2 more weeks worth of tracking on it, right? So know that I have a lot of different ways you can track things depending on what you're trying to accomplish. But if the basic setup is, hey, I'm just going for lot organization and I want to prevent guys from losing keys and being able to find those cars quicker, then this might be good options for you. If you have other concerns related to theft or tracking cars on test drives or things of that nature, know that I have some other features related to that. So let's hop into the app and we'll go over what it looks like to run a search, and then of course, how do I connect these tags up to specific cars? All right, guys, so here we are, and I have Kia of Duluth's, of course, dashboard pulled up on the phone app. Just a reminder, as we get started here, I can use an iPhone, I can use an Android-based phone. It makes no difference. It'll work on both. I regularly do that. So we're going to go over two very important things. The first being, how do I run a search to find a key in a car? And then secondarily, how do I connect up these tags that we're talking about to a key in a car, right? So let's run a search real quick here. It's just as simple as you see on the screen. Find a key and find a car, that very first button. I tap that button. From here, now it's going to provide me with all of the inventory that's currently living in their feed, so I can see that already living here, or I could jump into the search bar and type in a partial stock, a partial VIN, the whole stock, the whole VIN, or I could search by year, make, and model, right? And it's going to show me only what's available to see in my inventory feed. So this way, if I'm out on the lot and says, hey, do you guys have any Chrysler Pacificas? I could pull this up, run a search right here, and then it'll show me anything I have available. And then I could search that out, right? So it's going to make it very easy for me to do this. Now, when you're on here, what you're going to see when you first pull this up is that you're going to see this very first car. And this very first car you can see has a car icon and a key icon down in the bottom portion next to the photo. And that's letting letting you know that the car has been tagged and the key has been tagged. Now, the one below that you're going to see is only has a car tag, meaning they've tagged the car, but they haven't tagged the key. Now, if you tag the key and the spare key, you'd see 2 keys on there, right? So just be aware of that when you're searching through and looking at cars and keys, that if you pop onto something that hasn't been tagged yet, well, you're not going to be able to track it, right? So just be aware of that. So this very first 2016 Equinox, so let's pretend that's the car that we were looking for, right? We typed in a partial stock number, we got it. So I click on that, it immediately pulls it up, right? So now it's now showing me where that car is living, and I can zoom out to see where in relation to the building, and if I was on this specific lot at the time, it would show where I'm at as well, right? So I can see where the car is at. If I hit the next button, it'll jump over and show me where the key is at. Now I'm going to jump back to the car. Not only is it showing me where it's at, but it's also telling me it's on the main lot, middle south. It's telling me where it's at. Now, the more important part is when I get to that key, right? It's showing me it's in the building, but it's also telling me it's on level 1 and it's on the pegboard. The way we have that network set up, we've honed in one of those gateways to only see when keys are on their pegboard, right? So the same way you'd have a key machine that tell you if it's in the key machine, this will do that as well. So this is going to help you a lot. So before I even walk over to the key machine to get this key and then walk out to get that car, I already know it's there, right? So from a sales standpoint, if I greet someone who walks in the front door and they say they want to see this, I immediately pull up the stock number because maybe they know it, or maybe I just search it out, right? By year, make, and model. I now know keys on the pegboard, cars out front. I just made my sales staff way more efficient. You know what I mean? If somebody calls in and I'm a BDC staff, same thing. I could pull it up and look it up and go, oh yeah, I can see that the car's sitting right out front on the main lot. And the key's here in the building. You want me to go grab that key and give it to a salesperson? When can you come by? Right? So now you can turn this around and use it as an appointment setter too. So very easy to run a search. So I'm going to jump back out of this and we'll just run another search, right? So we'll come down here and we'll go to this 2018 Ford Escape, right? So perfect example, we'll click on it, same thing again. Boom, pulls up, shows me where the car is at, and I'm going to zoom back out so I can see in relation to the building where it's at. So I can see that the car is in the main lot, middle north. Click on the next button. Keys on the pegboard, right? So if this key was floating around. So let's pretend this key wasn't on the pegboard. How would I search it out, right? I know it's in the showroom, right? It's telling me and showing me. But once I get over there, I'm like, all right, well, where in the showroom? Well, I can hit this Find a Tag button up here at the top of the screen, and that'll actually pull up my radar. Now, where you're seeing it kind of think right now, because I'm not actually on this lot, a white ball will appear. Now, as I get closer to that key, that white ball will move down into this darker blue area that says immediate. As I move away from it, it's far, right? So it's kind of a game of hot and cold where I'm walking around my phone. So if I think this is like in a car, maybe I'm out on the lot and I'm looking for the keys, right? I could walk up, put this on the windshield, and it'll start going off, right? If I'm in the showroom and I know it's in one of the desks, I might have to do a little bit of wandering, but it'll help me find those keys, right? So know that this can get real granular and take you right up to those keys, right? And that can take me right over to the car. So just be aware of that, right? So that's how you run a simple search using the system. Very easy to do, not hard at all. But let's talk about the other side of that. Okay, so I have cars that I want to tag. What's that going to look like? How is it going to change my process for my staff? Okay. Easy enough. We'll jump back to the home button, and we're going to just go to this True Tag Management button right here, the second button down, because I'm going to want to add a tag. So I click onto that, and then what I would do, exact same process. Search out the car that I want to connect up a key tag to and a car tag to. So for the sake of this, let's pretend it's this 2018 Pacifica, right? So we just got this car from auction. It's in our inventory feed. Great, right? And I want to connect up a tag to it. It's as simple as, okay, I see the car button, so I'm going to press this car button. And it's going to say, okay, now I can either add in and type in those letters that I see on the back of this tag, or I can hit that QR reader and then just simply scan it, right? So much easier to do that. Takes me, 5 seconds? And I'm going to do the exact same process for the keys, guys, right? So I hit that key button, same thing. I'm going to use the QR reader because I think that's the better way to go. Helps me prevent from, mistyping something or anything like that. Now you're seeing this, obviously this tag isn't registered since it's just a simple promo tag, but same thing, I would just hit connect, right? So in a matter of 10 seconds right there, I just connected up a key tag and a car tag to a specific stock number and VIN, right? So very easy to do. Now, with that said, what if the car is not in the inventory yet, right? It's a trade that we just took in. Or maybe it's not a car or a key at all. Maybe I want to check something like a jump box. Maybe I want to do a golf cart keys. Maybe I want to do temp tags, guys. How often do temp tags get lost and misplaced, left on cars? You drove 5 in on a busy Saturday and now you have no idea where it's at? Well, you can do that, right? So up here in the search, let's say I want to type in something for a trade, right? So I just start typing in what the stock number is going to be or what the VIN, right? So if it was one, GH, and then a bunch of letters and numbers, right? I'm not going to go through the whole process there, but I would run a search, and then it's going to prompt me and say, hey, we don't see that currently in the inventory. Would you like to add it as a VIN or a stock number? At that point, I could say, yes, go ahead and add it as a VIN, which I'm not going to do since this dealership is live. and then it would populate, right? So I'm going to back out of that, and then it would populate as just a manual entry that I would see, just like this Pacifica. I would see the VIN that I typed in or the stock number. Now, from that point, same thing I would do, click on the car, click on the key, and tag it, right? So it's that easy. Now, the cool part about this is once I've tagged that, when it does land the inventory feed, those two will merge up, so you're not going to have duplicate records. So it's going to make it very easy. So the minute I am sitting with a customer, we're cutting the keys off, however we sell them, where it's off a pegboard, I'm just cutting this tag off, and I've pulled this out of the car, it's sitting on the delivery drive. Okay, well, great. I've probably got a set of keys that they're giving me for a trade-in. I could immediately connect this up right then if I wanted to. So now I'm tracking that trade the minute it starts moving around my dealership to go anywhere. I could do the keys and the car. So just be aware that you can add this in your process and really help yourself out. Now, what about the question of what if I want to tag something that isn't a car, right? I have, all these jump boxes that walk off. I've got these temp tags that guys can't keep their hands on. Okay, same thing. Well, if I come in here and I put, Justin's temp tag or Justin's tag, right? Whatever you want to label this, same process. Click that and go, okay, I'm going to add this as his stock number, right? So I'm going to do that this time, and I'm going to say, yeah, we'll add it as new. Why not? Right? So now I have this manual entry that's named Justin's tag. All I got to do, guys, if I'm going to zip tie one of these to that tag or glue it to the back or however I want to connect it, right? All I'm going to do is click on that key tag since I'm using a key tag for it, and then search it out, right? Same thing. Click on it, use that QR code, boom, find it, and we're done, right? So not a hard process here. And now I can track things outside of my keys in my cars, right? So now anytime I wanted to search that out, I could just type in Justin or Justin's tag, and it would pull this up for me, and I could search it. So at any given point, if anybody loses a tag, we could search it out and find it, right? So it's going to make it very easy to find your keys, find your cars, find temp tags, golf carts, golf cart keys, jump boxes, whatever it is that grows legs at your dealership, you can hunt it down, right? So this is what it looks like to run a search, and of course, how do I tag, inventory, right? Now, speaking of that, I just want to remind you that while you do have the key tags and the car tags, if you have issues with car tags or cars being any kind of issue of theft, whether they be stealing items off the car or stealing the car completely, know that I also offer an additional tag that offers motion sensing. So I just want to put that out there in front of you that, hey, if you've got cars that you block in at the end of the night that you use so that nobody can get in and out of the dealership, maybe you want to throw a couple of these in there. Or, hey, maybe you got some high-end cars that you're worried about somebody stealing wheels off of, catalytic converters out of, or just a car in general, you know what I mean? Why not throw a couple of these on there, right? You can mix and match these. We could have a plethora of these running through the dealership, but maybe I got high-end cars I want these in, right? So just be aware and know that you have that available to you. Now, let's hop over to the desktop dashboard because I want to show you a higher level of how this works and who can use it as far as like sales managers on opening and closing duties, inventory managers as far as keeping the lot tight. There's a lot of higher level ways you can use this tool. So let's hop onto that and we'll check it out. All right, guys, so here we are on Key of Duluth's dashboard, right? So I want to talk to you about some different things that you can do from an upper level management status as far as opening and closing duties, managing the lot, keeping things nice and tight. But first off, let's just talk about what we're seeing on the screen here so that you can understand. So right in the middle, of course, I have this big map. Perfect example in time to talk about that network that we set up. Once we set up all those gateways outside and inside the building, we can start geofencing off areas. Now, this is all going to be custom to your store, and all the labels are going to be custom to your store too. We'll call it whatever you typically use so that it makes the most sense to you, right? So up here I can see I've got sales, and you'll see a number. And what that number is, if I click on that box, it'll present me with all of the cars that are currently living in that area, right? Same thing, service, click on that one. It'll present me, I got 3 cars over there. Boom, here's those cars. Click on the main lot. Boom, it presents this. And you're always going to see it's going to create these filters up here, right? It's depending on what I click on or what I search out over here on the left. Right, so very easy to understand how the network works. And we can set this all up. If you had a spillover lot that lived across the street over here, we can set those guys up too so that you can see if the car's over there so that when you're presenting and trying to find something for a customer, you're not wandering around the lot looking here when it's not even on the lot, right? So know that we can take advantage of that. If you have parking structure, I can do the same thing. I've got a few different dealerships using parking structures. This makes a lot of sense. So over here on the left, I can run my searches, right? So I can search stock number, VIN. I have all these different filters. I can search by year, make, and model. If I want to search out more than one vehicle at once, right? I can absolutely do that. And I'll explain how that's going to work for your inventory managers here in just a second and your sales managers. Now, up top, you've got these different kind of green bars that you're going to see here. Now, the first two are related to keys, so pre-owned keys and new keys. It's showing me how many I've tagged, 54 out of the 77 total that are currently living in inventory. And then it's showing me below the 23 remaining that haven't been tagged. Now, what's cool about this is I click on the 54. It's going to present me with that list over here of those 54. I can click on that remaining 23, and it'll show me the ones that haven't been tagged. And the way we're able to do that is because we connect with your inventory feed, right? So if it doesn't recognize that there's a tag connected to it, well, then it hasn't been tagged. right? So know that as an upper level management, I can look at this and go, okay, well, how many have we not tagged? Are my guys staying on top of this? Absolutely, I can check this right from here, right? So I can do this for keys and I can do this for cars, and I'm broken it out into pre-owned and new. So the next two bars, now it's talking about used vehicles, and we're talking about new vehicles, right? So very easy to manage and understand what's going on as far as tagging and the process. Now, these next two, location is just kind of exactly what we just talked about, the locations, right? Of, hey, you've got this many cars here, here, and here. Last sightings over here, really cool. So let's get into how a sales manager can use this as an opening and closing duty, right? So last sightings, I'm going to jump up here and let's go to the 24 to 72 hours, right? I click on that and I'm going to click on that one specifically, and it's going to show me a vehicle that hasn't been seen in the last 24 hours. That means it has left our lot, the tag has timestamped, and we don't know where it's at from there, right? Now, there's a couple things that I could do here. I could click into this and go to the notes and say, hey, all right, well, did somebody add in a note? Is it, hey, went out to Brownie's Automotive for some work to get done? Or, hey, loaned it out to a customer. We're working numbers on it, just trying to close them on it, right? If so, then I can move along with my day. Or maybe it's in the manager's notes, right? You keep them somewhere else that y'all send to each other each day. We can look back in the log and go, okay, I know what's going on with that car, right? If not, then, hey, maybe I potentially have some theft on my hands here, and I need to start figuring out something really quick for this, right? I need to pull up cameras and look back to, when it leaves, it'll timestamp and tell me, geo departure, this date, this time. Now I'll know, okay, it left at that time. Let me pull up the cameras and see what's going on, see if somebody took it, right? So if this is potential theft, I start having more information to use to help my dealership. Now, I could, of course, look at this every single day, and I could click into all right, well, let me go over to there to last sightings, and let me find that tab, and then let me click on this one and do all that. Or I could simply go to the back office, go to a user account, come down here, select a person. So for the sake of this, we'll use Jonathan. Click on the missing vehicle alerts, and if I check this box, each morning, Jonathan will get an email with a list of these vehicles. So if he's opening manager, typically he'll get this and go, okay, let me check on these real quick. Okay, I see that this one's been loaned out. This one, there's something going on, but this one I don't know. All right, I need to figure this one out real quick here so that I know, right? If that's an issue at your dealership, why not manage it? So different ways I can use this as an opening and closing duty. Now, let's talk about closing at the end of the night. How can I apply what I have on here and what I'm using to do just that? Now, right now, we're seeing all the vehicles that are living on the map right now, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to assets, and I'm going to switch this over to keys. And then after I've switched it to keys, I'm going to change these counts over to pins. Now, at the end of the night, this is perfect, right? Every key should make it back in the building. So if I see a key that isn't back in the building, like this one right here, I can click on this and go, hey, man, I think somebody might have dropped this or left this in that car out there. Hey, Steve, grab a sales guy and just go, hey, type in the stock number, go find this key. It should be out on the lot in the service area. I need you to go find out. I think somebody dropped it or did something with it. Send them out there. And of course, once they get out there, if they can't find it, they can use their phone and that radar app that we just went over on the app, right? And they can search it out and it'll walk them right up to that key. So this way I can make sure every key at the end of the night makes it back inside of the building. So I can check on this every single night. It's that easy. It took me 5 seconds to literally see where every key on the lot is. So over the course of a given day, if somebody can't find a key, boom, I can pull this up and go, well, there's one sitting out here in this car. Let me click, and that's maybe the stock number. Somebody's walking up going, key says it's checked out to Dave, but Dave doesn't know where it is. Everyone's played that game, right? It is the age-old game at a dealership. We don't have to play that game anymore, right? We can start seeing where things are very quick, right? So that's how I can use this as an opening and closing duty as far as my sales managers go. Now, some different ways that you can apply this outside of that. Now, I don't know if you saw it when I pulled it up, but I have a days in inventory over here, right? So I can click on this and filter out by 90 plus days old, 60 to 89 days. So I'm going to go for the oldest age units I got, right? So I'm going to click on that. It's going to present me with this list, which always nice. On here, I can turn off this. I can export this list and send it over to somebody in case somebody was asking about old age units and what we're doing with them. This way I can manage it, but then I can also turn on the pins and see where these vehicles are. Hey, if I got old age units and they're not selling, well, why aren't they selling? Well, maybe it's because I got one of them back over here in service that isn't being shown, right? We don't even know why it's back there. Well, I should probably figure that out. Or maybe I want to grab all these old age units, put them right up front, put hang tags on them, big sell, X amount of dollars off, or come ask me about what I can do on this car, right? Or these are my units that, hey, I can't get you to your monthly payment on that car, but I've got a list of these cars out front that I can work with you on, that I can go deeper into discounting with, right? So this gives me a way to start looking at my inventory, whether it be old age or just types of inventory, and know where it's at on the lot and how can I apply that to sell it? Because that's the goal, right? I want to get rid of these. So that's how I can look at old age units. So from an inventory manager or a sales manager standpoint, this can be a very powerful tool. Now, I'm going to jump out of that and just talk to you for a second about two different things. So as an inventory manager, or a sales manager, I might want to know where all of a certain type of car are. So what I could do is I could come over here and run a search. So for the sake of this, I understand that new inventory is low right now, but let's say we got some specific deal that's running on Kias, and then I'm going to specifically say maybe it's Optimas, right? So I click on the Optimus. Now I've only got one here, so I'm going to add in a couple cars. Some Sorrentos helping me out there. So I'll click out all the rest of them, and we'll just use Sorrentos, right? So, all right, I've got all these cars, and we're running this big incentive, and I can make higher grosses on them. So what I want to do is I want to put all those cars right up front with hang tags or do whatever you want to do to where everybody has to walk past them because I want to sell those cars. I can make more money off of them. But also, not only do I want to put them up there, I need to know where they're at from the first point, right? So if I've got one over here in service, and I've got, 3 over here and 1 over here, well, why aren't they all sitting next to each other? They're Sorrentos anyways, right? I want to have them all stacked up on the lot to where it's nice and tight. So from an inventory manager standpoint, I can make sure that all my cars are exactly next to each other so that when a sales guy walks out there, hey, I'm looking for a Sorrento. Well, I got a whole line of them right here. I shouldn't have those outliers, right? I can keep the lot organized, make everyone more efficient. And then from a sales standpoint, hey, if I'm running a specific incentive, all right, well, let's grab all those Optimas or those Sorrentos for this case. Let's put them somewhere visible because maybe they're over typically in this corner. Let's put them right outside the front door of the building so that everybody has to walk by them and just put sell, ask about pricing or whatever you want to do, right? However you want to apply this. So I can search out multiple vehicles on the lot at a given time and see where they're at. And depending on how I want to use that, whether they're old age or maybe it's because I got a specific incentive and I want to push those cars. Right? So different ways that you can use this for your sales managers, and you can use this, of course, for your inventory manager. Right? So that's kind of the quick rundown to how I can apply this, from different standards, whether it's just running simple searches of, hey, man, I just need to search out a specific car, stock number, VIN, or, hey, I want to use this from an inventory standpoint. I want to use this for an opening and closing duties. How can I start really managing my assets and managing my lot? So hopefully that helps you understand the dashboard. All right, guys, so that's it. We now know how to track keys and cars and more, right, using the app and, of course, using the desktop dashboard. And then, of course, we looked at how does the network work and then all the different tools that we can use as far as the key tags and the car tags. Now, as we move forward, if you have questions about this, want to set up a demo for your dealership, I'd be happy to do that. But I want to revisit a couple things and remind you about a couple things. The first being, let's talk about those tags. Of course, tracking your keys, tracking your cars, your standard tags that I have. Reminder, I do have those motion sensing tags. So if theft is an issue or concern at your dealership, know that you absolutely can track those as well. Now, when it comes to tracking, we just talked about the sales side today, but know that I offer this on the service side as well. Now, my service side is set up a little bit different. We preload all the tags to where you don't have to add anything up, and we connect them to RO numbers. So for something like a keys, they would live on here, right, with the ticketing number that we set up custom to your specific store, and then we build hang tags with those same tags in them, right? So this would live. So basically what I'm saying is that if I wanted to use this in the service side, what could happen is They pull in, these are connected to my RO number, so let's pretend this is 151. They come in, throw this around the rearview mirror because it's got a hook, throw this on the keys, boom, put them, right at my ticket, send my customer down the way, and immediately I can type in 151 and track that specific RO number and see where that car is because this is living in it and where those keys are as well. So if you want to track keys and cars in service, know that I offer that as well. Outside of that, I have some other auxiliary tools, things like OBD2 devices, so if you wanted to track cars on and off the campus, so think for like test drives maybe, or if you have, guys that are driving around in company cars and you just want to keep an eye on them, maybe it's loaner cars, whatever it may be, know that we have these. Even if you pull it out, it'll still track for 2 more weeks. So a lot of different products I have. Now, outside of that, the last tool that you may want to look into is if you start tracking your cars with us, know that I offer a recon tool. Why not track it through that process? How nice would it be if your car could automatically check in to each and every step, because the minute we do geofence off all those areas, it'll roll into a bay, it checks it in. When it rolls out of the bay, it checks it out. When it rolls into PDI, it checks it in. When it rolls out, right? When it rolls into photo booth, it checks it in, checks it out. So this way you can see how long a car spends in each step with our tags, because it automatically does it for you, then how long cars are taking in the overall process. So this way you can start to see where those bottlenecks are and really start to turn your inventory faster. I understand right now with used cars being such a priority since there aren't many new cars out there, this starts to become a lucrative moneymaker. So if you have questions about True Recon, tracking those cars as they go through that process, if you have questions about our fixed op tracking, or just general lot management stuff of, hey, I want to track my keys and cars for the sell side of things, I'd be happy to go over those with you. So feel free to give me a call, text, email at the end of the screen. I'll throw up all of my contact info, and it's always in the description of the video. Other than that, appreciate you watching and tuning in, and later, guys!